So good morning. Good morning, everyone. I'm Jennifer Reed. I'm the director of Bridgewater State University Senior College. Thank you so much for coming to this event today, which is on mastering Zoom. And so as many of you likely know, if you're here today, a good portion of our courses are offered in senior college via Zoom. So we use this platform in the courses. And it occurred to us that we hadn't done one of these informational sessions in a while. And some members who help guide senior college, our advisory board, they suggested that we offer this session because they noticed that sometimes new people come into senior college and maybe they're not as familiar with Zoom. And sometimes people aren't necessarily following sort of the Zoom etiquette. And so they thought it would be worth our time to offer this session. So we're so glad you're here. We see 34 of you. So welcome to all of you. If you're watching this on YouTube, welcome as well. And just to give the 1-minute plug for senior college, of course, we are a lifelong learning program for older adults offered here at Bridgewater State University. This coming semester, the fall of 2024, we have 60 courses. 27, I think, are in person and the rest are on Zoom. So just like this, and you would be surprised at how much of a community can happen in our Zoom spaces. People really do get to know each other in this virtual space, and I've heard quite a few stories of people connecting in their virtual classes and then they end up connecting in real life. People have gone off and had coffee with one another or met up with each other or played golf. So there's opportunities to make real friendships that can exist outside of these little squares, even in the virtual classes. So I would just encourage you to be open-minded about the Zoom courses, even if, because some people call me up and say, I don't want to ever do Zoom. I don't like Zoom. So just maybe try one. The other thing is a lot of our classes are recorded, and that's offered as a benefit to our members. So if you join senior college and you're in a virtual course and you miss a session, you can watch it later on something we call an on-demand video library. So that might be something that's convenient for you. I know a lot of people take advantage of that. So as we go along today, my colleague Brendan is going to give a presentation on Zoom. A Zoom presentation on Zoom. It's kind of meta. And what I was thinking is that if the first exercise could be to find the chat function, which for me is there's like a little word bubble on the bottom of my computer here, and it says chat. If as Brendan's getting started, if people could type in the chat where they're zooming in from today, and then maybe one thing that they're hoping to get out of today's session, and or one thing that they're looking forward to this fall in senior college. So you can say either one. Maybe there's a course you're interested in or a friend that you're looking to, excited to see in the fall. So again, if you can find the chat function now and put where you're zooming in from and what you're hoping to accomplish today or this fall in senior college. Oh, it's so good. I see people. Oh, look at all of you. You're experts. You already know how to use the chat. So without further ado, and also check us out on our website, read our course catalog, read our quick glance schedule. Carol will pop the website into the chat. And if you have any questions about how to join senior college or the benefits of your membership, you can reach out to me anytime, or of course, Kara anytime, and I'll pop my email in the chat when I'm done speaking. So Brendan, welcome. Thank you so much for being with us today. I'm excited to learn more about this platform. And with that, I will hand it over to you.
Thank you, Jen.
I can't find chat.
So the chat, you're probably going to look at the bottom of your screen and you'll see a little bar that has like audio, video, participants, and there should be a little speech bubble icon that says chat underneath it. And it will pop up a separate window that will then have the chat feature. If you can't find it right now, that's okay. We will get there. I just wanted to say thank you to Dr. Jen Reed for arranging this webinar and for all she and her team, including Kara, have done to ensure the growth and continued success of the Senior College here at Bridgewater State University. And thank everyone here for joining us. It's going to be a really great presentation, and I hope you enjoy it. We're going to get into the exacts, but first I'm going to share my screen with you all. Let me know. So you should be seeing a little presentation now that says Mastering Your Zoom.
Looks good, Brendan.
All right, awesome. So, hi, I'm Brendan Harvey. I'm the Assistant Director of the Online Program Support Center here at the College of Continuing Studies. I've been helping students and faculty with synchronous online programming for a little over 5 years now. I assisted in the transition of all BSU coursework from in-person to emergency remote during the first year of the pandemic, and that included a lot of synchronous online classes through Zoom, and back then there were some other applications as well. And I've continued to support the campus through the return to campus and continued on to now. I also have facilitated multiple webinars on how to use Zoom in classroom for both the students and faculty. So that's all to say, I know a bit. Hopefully I can share some stuff with you that you know. That's a slightly blurry picture of my wife, my two children who are going back to school this week, thank goodness, and me on a vacation in Chicago. And yeah, so moving on, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the flow of today. We're going to start with just a general overview of Zoom features. This is mostly going to be a lot of highlighting key functions. Zoom is funny where when you want to explain things, you need to share the buttons and stuff, but you can't necessarily do it easily while sharing your Zoom screen. So I've created this PowerPoint presentation that has a bunch of screen captures of what you should be seeing so that I can kind of highlight those. And then later on, if there's any additional questions, we can speak to those. And I'm also going to just recommend some best practices along the way as we talk about each particular feature. There are some items that, you know, there's some etiquette that has been kind of built over the last few years that I'd like to share just so we can all be on the same page. After that, this is going to be maybe 20 minutes, if I'm bad, 30 minutes of presentation. And then we're going to just move into like an open forum where you're all going to be feel free to ask questions either via microphone or via the chat function. We're just going to have a discussion. Feel free to stick around for the entire time and learn from me, learn from Jen, learn from your peers, and we'll just work things through. And if there are any major questions that seem to have like a large group of individuals, we might utilize some breakout rooms and kind of separate and divide and conquer just so we cover all questions in the time that we have. So these screen captures are going to be coming from the Zoom application. That is possibly different than what you are going to be seeing. There is the Zoom application, and then there is the Zoom web application, which is something that's entirely in the browser of your computer, your web browser like Google Chrome or Firefox. They should be close to identical, but sometimes we have a mix-up. Someone says, I can't find that button, I don't have that feature, and it's, oh, you're in the web application versus the application. So if you do run into any of those moments of confusion, that might be the answer, and we can kind of address that specifically. Furthermore, there's also a mobile application that is available on your phone or via an iPad or another tablet. That is going to be a slightly different animal entirely. And a lot of the features are there, but they might just be in a different spot. And those, again, we can address on a need-to-know basis during the open forum part of the conversation. So before we really get into the features, I just wanted to say that we could also, everyone could benefit from registering for a free Zoom account. You can go to zoom.us, as in USA, and there is a button in the top right corner that says sign up free. They're going to get a little bit of your information, but there is no credit card required. And it basically allows you to host your own meetings and calls that are capped at 40 minutes, but you can just close the browser and open it back up again and have another free 40 minutes. But what I really like about this is this will then save your display name and any preferences you have, not only on your application, but across multiple platforms. So if you had to jump to your phone, you could sign in for Zoom and you use the same account, and everything from your main application would transfer over, and it would make it a lot more seamless for you. If you are not using the Zoom web application, which some of you might not be, there is the ability to download the application, which would make it a physical program on your computer. You can do that at zoom.com/download. You could also just go to Google and search Zoom app download. Normally it's the top link, allows you to download Zoom for Windows or Mac, depending on what computer you're on. And if you're logging in from a tablet or phone, you are probably already done this step. If you would like to use your tablet or phone, you can go to that brand's store, either the iPhone App Store or the Samsung store, and just search Zoom, and it should be the first application that comes up that you would be able to download. So that is just a plug for Zoom. It's a great product. It really makes it easy to not just take classes with Bridgewater State, but you can also FaceTime, get video with your family, your friends, someone who lives far away, and it's just a really great tool to connect with one another, especially over long distance. And it's free, so that's nice. So now we're going to dive into Zoom proper, and I want to start by talking about the Zoom menu. This is the very bottom of your screen. It should be right now. You should see all of these features available to you. There is the microphone setting on the far left, the camera setting next to that, and then a little bit over, you should see the chat panel, the participants, reactions. We're going to skip AI Companion for today, and then there are some other options hidden under more that we'll also talk about. All of these are basically the button you would click to access these features. So we're going to talk about each one of these individually as if we had clicked on the button, as if we had clicked the microphone settings, or if we had clicked the chat panel. You'll also notice it's slightly obscured by my graphics, but next to each one of these icons, there's a little up caret, which allows you to access further options within each one of those. So if you were to click the microphone setting button, it would just toggle between having your microphone live so people could hear you, or having your microphone muted so people cannot hear you. But if you click on this little caret icon, we call it, the little up arrow next to the microphone, you would get those further settings. Before we get to the microphone, we're going to jump right to reactions because we love reactions. So when we're going into reactions, there is a few things that you have access to, but the main one is raise hand. Raise hand is a great feature, especially in a classroom setting. It basically emulates the idea of having a raised hand in the classroom. If you have a question, if you have a comment, if you need to bring something to attention, you can just click on React and then click on Raise Hand, and a little virtual hand will pop up and let us know that you have a question. I'm not sure if I can actually see those while presenting a PowerPoint, but if anyone does have a question, feel free to raise your hand. Jen would let me know, and we can kind of facilitate things as we go. But do keep in mind, we are going to have that open forum at the end. So if you have a question that isn't, urgent, we will say, you could wait till then, and we'll address everything as we go. Furthermore, there are just some other additional reactions you can have, such as, clapping hands, thumbs up, heart, laughter, and you can click on the little ellipses, the 3 dots here, for even more. Basically, any emoji, they're called, that you can think of, you could access and include in your reactions. And it's just a nice way to kind of allow for slightly more passive interaction. You don't have to have yourself unmuted or anything, but you can show people how you're feeling and show the instructor or presenter how you're feeling during that time. So that is the reaction tab. Feel free to raise your hand at any point during this presentation, like I said, and we will address those as they come. Next, we are going to talk about our microphones. So, as we said before, we have our audio button in the bottom left-hand corner, and we clicked on the little caret icon next to the audio button, and we got this big list of audio settings that popped up. Some of this is probably going to be like very basic information, but I kind of have a no person left behind approach. So we're going to kind of talk and make sure that everyone is on the same page as we advance through things. So I'm sorry if some of this is kind of redundant or repetitious, but I just want to make sure that we cover everything for everybody. As you can see, I highlighted some stuff of interest. When you click on this audio button, it would toggle between muted and unmuted, like I said. But as we enter the upper area of this, you can see that now we have some quick access items. We have the ability to select the microphone we're currently using. If you are on a laptop or on your phone, there's probably only going to be one option here for your microphone. But if you're like me and you have your laptop microphone, but also your headphones plugged in, you can see that I'm using my external headphone microphones instead of the microphone built into MacBook Pro. And you can see this little check icon next to which device is being used. This can get really handy if you are having trouble, say you join a meeting and you are unable to hear someone, or they are unable to hear you. You've tried toggling the mute on and off. Perhaps you want to check which microphone is selected and make sure that the one that you've selected is the proper one. If you don't know which the proper one is, sometimes it's fun to just click different ones and see what happens. The old, break things and see what happens approach. Similar to that, you have select a speaker. This is going to be where the noise is coming from for your Zoom call. So this has external headphones. Again, it's going to my earbuds on my headphones, but I could also be sending it directly to my MacBook, or I could be using my secondary monitor, the speakers built into that monitor. So there are always some options. And if you have a few different devices installed on your computer, it could cause a few different options to be here that would kind of be dead ends. So it is good to check these things, especially if you're having troubleshooting what exactly is going on. If you want to test your microphone, there is a great built-in feature, test speaker and microphone. When you click on this button, you would get a little pop-up window. It would immediately start playing a sound to make sure that you can hear it. You can then switch through your different devices available to you, and hopefully one of them you would be able to hear. You would click, yes, I can hear it. And then it would do the same thing for your microphone. You'd be able to test and see if any audio is coming in through your microphone, and you can confirm which device you are supposed to be using. This will take you out of the main conversation. So if you were to use this option, you would immediately, no one would be able to hear you, is what I'm trying to say. I wanted to touch on, there's also the advanced audio settings, that bottom highlighted button. This really might be a lot of information, but there's that same testing speaker and microphone is available if you were to click that button. And then there are some other more advanced options about adjusting microphone volume to fit how much noise is coming in. If you want to play with background noise suppression, for the most part, all of this stuff is set and good to go. No need to play with it. But if you are feeling adventurous or if you're having an issue with your microphone, they are here. I just wanted to let you know where they are. So if you were so bold, you could go in and try to alter those things yourself. The other thing that I like to point out is when you are in these advanced settings, there are these bottom options. If I were to scroll down here, I can't because I'm not physically showing the screen, but at the bottom, there are these few options down here, including automatically join computer audio, which I think is a great feature. It kind of skips that whole button press of having to join audio. Some people might be joining via telephone, so that wouldn't necessarily work for you. But I think nowadays, 80 to 90% of us are using computer audio. So that just skips a step and gets you hot and running faster. And then you can also mute your mic when joining. A lot of webinars are set up so people are automatically muted. If that feature wasn't established when they set up the meeting, you could click this and it would make it so whenever you join a meeting, you default as mute, and then you would unmute yourself to start speaking. I think it's a handy feature just because it would be, I always find it beneficial to kind of like get yourself ready to be on mic and camera, right? You're kind of like you're going on TV. You want to look your best. You want to sound your best. You want to make sure you're in a quiet space. We're going to get to all that in a second. But if you're muted or if your camera is off before you turn things on, you have that moment to kind of like double check and make sure that everything is the way you want it before you start presenting yourself. Next, we're going to jump to the camera settings. Very similar to the audio settings. We have our selected camera here. I only have one camera available, so that's the one that's selected. This is also where you can quick blur your background. So say you don't want people seeing directly what's behind you, or you're just playing with that feature. Maybe it's on and you want it off. There's that blur, and then it would say unblur my background. You just click there, and there you go. It is using some advanced algorithms to kind of detect where you are on the screen versus where your background is, and it can automatically decide what to blur. It's not perfect. Some things will work. Sometimes things will get cut off. Most times it's inconsequential, but it just allows you to decide what to see and what not to see. The next two options, the background effects and the video filter effects, we're going to get to in a second. Those are those advanced features. I saw someone ask, how do I get the halo off my head? We're going to touch on that in a second. You're basically looking for that video filter option. And then they also have more advanced video settings, which we'll touch on lightly, but are kind of advanced. So we're not going to spend too much time on them. So if you were to click either of those two buttons, the background effects or the video filter effects, you would be brought to one of these two screens. As you can see, I am very sad. I was supposed to have a little a little block out there. You weren't supposed to see me so miserable. But as you can see, we can use a virtual background. I could blur out my background. I could use an alternate background like Jen and Kara have. They have a great shots of BSU as their background. You can use this little plus feature to upload photos that you own that you would like to be your background. You can also download some from online. And then those video filters, you probably have a halo on your head from these video filters. If you just switch that to none, these are just little silly things you can add to your face. You can change the tone and lighting, but you could also change. You could have a pizza on your head. You can give yourself cat ears. It's just a way to make things a little bit more fun, more for those friends and family calls than to be used during a school setting. But they're there if you want them. And then the advanced settings, these are kind of similar to the advanced settings for audio. For the most part, things are pretty much set. You do have the option to change your camera here. And then you have some options of if you don't want to see yourself, you can hide the video of yourself. You can hide people who are not presenting video. You can make it so your video doesn't start when you join, regardless of the settings of the webinar you are joining. And you can also stop video entirely. For the most part, I think all of these are kind of set the way they should be set. If you had anything you wanted to explore, that's where they are. But I don't think that this is really necessary for you to spend too much time on. But, you know, just in case. And then I just wanted to take a second and talk about Zoom etiquette as far as when we are joining a Zoom, especially in a classroom setting, some of these things that we've kind of grown accustomed to as we move forward. I like to say that if you are going to join a Zoom, you want to find a quiet location when possible. I know it's not always possible. Sometimes we have dogs. Sometimes we live near a train. It's not always perfect, but if you can kind of put that best foot forward and find somewhere that is ideal. You can also make a point of reducing background noise if you are joining a Zoom call, but you have a television on in the other room, or someone is vacuuming. Maybe it's worth moving. Maybe it's worth asking them to not vacuum, lower the volume on the TV, that kind of thing, just to make it ideal for everyone joining the class. And then also, if you are not currently speaking, best practice, just mute your microphone. If you click on that little audio button, you'll see a little red line that shows that you are muted. If there's no red line, your microphone's live and everyone is hearing everything that's happening in your space. So best practice, have it mute. When you want to speak, unmute. Really best practice, raise your hand, wait until you're called on, then unmute and speak. Similar for video, you want to find a well-lit space. Daylight is great, but can sometimes cause glare if you are especially if you have your back to a window that is shining directly in towards the camera. So that's something to be mindful of. It's great to find a stable camera placement that allows you to be seen. I like to say in a flattering angle. You don't necessarily want the camera like pointed down like you're holding your phone, like you were scrolling the news. You want to have it somewhere, again, as if you were on television. You're on TV, essentially. So you want to make sure that you are presenting yourself in a way that you want to be seen. And toggle the camera on and off when needed. This goes between if you need to address something, if you need to speak with someone off camera and you are muted, feel free to also turn your camera off for that time. If you have to get up and go somewhere else, if you have to walk somewhere with your laptop or tablet or phone, feel free to turn off your camera and make that move. And then once you are in that new comfortable space, turn the camera back on. Like Jen had mentioned, this is more just to avoid situations where you aren't presenting something you didn't want to present, because again, this is going to be something that is shown to everyone that is on the camera with you, on the Zoom call with you, and also in cases like this, it's also being recorded. So always best practice. If you need to move, if you think maybe I don't want people to see this, you can absolutely turn your camera off for that bit of time and turn your camera back on. No one's going to get offended or concerned. We do like having your camera on, obviously. It's great seeing everyone, but we don't want to make it mandatory, and I don't want you to think that it is always mandatory to be on 24/7 when you are on these calls. It's a comfort thing. Turn it off when you need to. So next we are going to jump. We're getting through. I'm doing okay on time, but we are nearing the end. I just wanted to quickly talk about the chat feature. So if you click on that button in the bottom of your menu that says chat, a white chat window will pop up on most likely the right-hand side of your screen. If you're on a mobile app, I think you have to switch to the chat feature, but on the web app and on the downloaded application, that chat window will normally pop up on the right. Here you will see the chat log. Right, this is just an example, so it just says me saying hello everyone, but you would be able to see all information presented that anyone has chatted as you scroll through that chat log. At the bottom, you have your chat window. This is where you would type your message, and then you can click this little paper airplane, or hit enter to send your message. The other thing I wanted to mention here is there is a bit of a trick where there's the option to select who you are messaging. So right now I've clicked on where it says to, and then this little button that says everyone. You can see that everyone is highlighted, but if there were 20 people in this chat on my screen, you would see all 20 people's names, and you can send private messages to individual people. This can be tricky. Sometimes you want to send a message directly to the host. You don't want everyone else to see it. That is entirely great. And in a case that needs to be something you do, feel free to do it. Hi, I need to step out. I'm sorry, I have to leave. Can you send me a copy of this PowerPoint? Those kinds of things, you could send those directly to the host. That's fine. But from that point on, all further messages you send will continue to go just to the host, because that was the last thing you selected. So if you want to jump between sending a message to me, sending a message to Jen, or sending a message to everyone, you have to make sure you're mindful of who you are sending it to via this little selection box here. And it should say to everyone 9 times out of 10, because for the most part, we want to talk to everyone.
Brendan, can I just make one quick observation
Absolutely,
on
sure.
that? So it's a dangerous tool. So just be really mindful, like, if someone is maybe being a little, talking too much in a class, like just be really mindful. You would hate to think you're private chatting a friend and actually be publicly putting in the chat. And I've seen
Mhm.
that happen in meetings, even if it's just like, hey, how are you? That
Absolutely.
kind of thing. So just be really mindful of it as a tool because it's super easy to make a mistake, even for the most savvy of Zoom users like Brendan and
Absolutely.
myself.
Yep.
The other thing I would say is in senior college, Brendan, like oftentimes when we have sessions, a lot of the members in the audience will private chat me, and I'm the
Mhm.
host and I'm speaking and I'm presenting. And it really is very difficult for me to pay attention to what I'm saying and also
Sure, sure,
look at the
sure.
private chat. So I would say in your classes, if you were like that example was great, if you want the PowerPoint, you might put in the public chat, hey, Nan, will you be sharing this PowerPoint with the class? Like it's probably a question that everybody else is wondering too. So I
Right.
would encourage you to put it in the public chat and maybe not private chat the instructor, because remember, they're talking. So then they have to look away to be like, oh, I have private chats coming in. Most of the things you say to the instructor, I would imagine you should just go ahead and put it in the public chat. So that's my 2 cents, like use
That's a
caution.
great point.
Public chat in a class is always a great thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I was going to say before and this is I've been using the internet since it showed up. I've I regularly use multiple messaging. Um, Best practice is you type out your question, and before you hit send, you double check and you make sure you're sending it to the person you want to send it to. Um, Everyone by far is the best default. There can be cases that you want to send a private chat to someone. Feel free to, but again, everyone is the go-to, and just make sure you're sending it to the person you intend to send it to. So that is chat. Further, we have the participant panel. That is another option that was in our menu at the bottom. This is the full list of everyone that is available in the meeting as is. The main thing I want to bring up here is you have next to your name specifically the option to click more. And within that option, there's the option to rename yourself. This is a great feature for say you're logging in. I saw a couple and it just logs in as John's iPad or iPhone or a phone number. That doesn't help your instructor or anyone really know who you are or who's present. So sometimes it's best to just go in and rename yourself. This again is a feature that is necessary until you sign up for an account, and then your account information would just populate this for you, and you wouldn't have to worry about it. But in the interim, you can edit your name here. You can also edit your profile picture. I have this little picture of me. You can throw in a different picture there. That helps add a little bit of personality and make the experience better for others, because then they can see you and get to know you more if that's something you want.
So I would just also chime in. So now, while Brendan's talking, it might be a good opportunity to practice that if you can. I do
Sure.
see several people with first name / last name as iPad in the group. No one should be called out specifically. And I always give the great example of one time in a session, we had two Nana's iPads. So
Hey,
if your
which Nana?
grandchildren or your children are helping you set things up, have them put in your name and not Nana or Papa or Meme or whatever. So if anyone wants to practice that, renaming is a big one in senior college because a lot of people come in just as like iPhone or,
Sure.
and it's helpful if we have your first name and you can do your last initial if you don't want to have your full name shared. Ginny and Rick, you have a question. You can go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I missed how you got there because I would like to put in a profile picture.
Sure. So this is what the panel looks like. Normally it's on the right-hand side. I'm going to jump back several slides. Let's get there. So you can see here this participants panel. It has like 2 people, and it should have the number of how many people are in the session currently. Normally it's next to the chat feature. Sometimes it's sandwiched between chat and reactions. If you are on an iPad or a mobile device, it might be under more. I don't have that information directly in front of me, but we can work it out if that is the case. But normally you would click on participants, and then this little side panel will pop up, normally underneath chat, or oh, actually no, above chat, and you'll be able to access that right through the more button next to your name. If you don't see the more button, you just need to hover your mouse over your name and it should pop up. Were there any other questions? Did that answer the first question?
There are a bunch of questions that I've kind of synthesized, so you let me know when you're done.
Okay, I have 2 more slides, and then I
Okay.
think we can jump right into the open forum because we are kind of
Gregory will be with you
using
in a
time.
minute.
All right, so the last thing I just want to mention, this is more of a great feature that Zoom offers for captions. You can request captions at any time. It used to be something that I believe the host had to enable, but I think now you can just request it and it turns on. If you do not see this show captions option, then if you click on more, the captions option will be kind of hidden underneath that more tab. You can click on show captions, choose the caption language, and you can also choose to see the full transcript, so you could view everything that has been said in the meeting thus far. The only trick is that this is done by generative artificial intelligence. It's not, actually no, just artificial intelligence, not generative artificial intelligence. This is done by artificial intelligence, and it is not 100% accurate by default. For accessibility purposes, we normally go in afterwards and edit the transcript so it is perfect, but you're probably looking at somewhere between 95 to 75% accurate for the words that come out, just because I talk fast and mumble, and the computers are doing their best, but it's not always going to work. So just keep that in mind as you read. If you see some words that don't seem like the proper words, you can use context to kind of build around that. I love captions. I use captions all the time, everywhere, just because it helps me ingest the information. And I really think that's a great feature, especially for a lecture or online course, because it's called dual coding. You're getting the information 2 ways. You're listening and reading it at the same time, and 2 separate parts of your brain essentially are learning it at the same time, which is neat. So captions is always available there. Feel free to use it. So that goes through all of the buttons that I wanted to touch on. I just wanted to touch on the etiquette one more time, specifically audio, joining from a quiet room, reducing your background noise from there. And then if you are not going to be speaking, just have your microphone muted. As we went over, there's an option to start with your microphone muted. Feel free to take advantage of that. Similarly, for the video, you want to find a well-lit space and a stable camera, and you want to put your best self forward when presenting your camera video. But feel free to turn that camera on and off as needed, depending on your situation. If you're walking away, if you are moving from point A to point B, it's nice to have the camera on. We love seeing you, but it doesn't have to be on all the time. Especially in a class setting, you want to raise your hand before asking a question. We can kind of, it simulates the classroom experience. Furthermore, using the chat feature helps us kind of pool questions, or allows for a little bit more passive engagement, where maybe the instructor would pause to look through the chat and make sure everything is being answered, and they can go back at a pace that works for them. But the chat feature is always there to kind of like relay information as you're thinking of it, so you don't have to like sit on a question for 20 minutes hoping that you remembered exactly what you wanted. You can just type it in, there's a copy there, and then we can get back to it when we need. And then we were updating your name, or you can create an account. Just another great feature to make sure that we are all able to present the best version of ourselves and we can see each other. So that is 34 minutes of Zoom information. Thank you, and I'm sorry. We're going to stop sharing.
Brendan, thank you so much. This is so great, so
Awesome.
helpful. Really appreciate your time and being so well prepared and just the effort that you put in to be with us today. So I'm going to quickly, before we get to the questions, I see lots of raised hands. I'm so happy for the engagement. I kind of synthesized the things that came in while you were speaking. Quickly go through that, if that's okay. So
Absolutely.
the big one was, which was such a great question, so thank you to the person that asked that, was about how in senior college you get to your Zoom links. So that's a great one, and I'm going to walk through that real quick. We won't share the website today with you because we're not sure if everyone in this call is actually a current member and has rejoined for the fall. I know a lot of you are members for the fall, but all of the members of senior college, I'm sharing my screen now, get access to what we call the members only website. And so you're seeing it here on my screen, and I'm just going to show it very quick. The Zoom links for your courses are located in this document right here that says Zoom links for your courses. And basically, it's your job to go into that link in this website and scroll to find your course link. And members of senior college, we're welcome, or we can meet with you one-on-one. We can show you around the members only website on an individual basis as well. So again, but you only get the Zoom links if you join senior college, and you get access to that members only website. Some questions came in around like the specifics of like things people are viewing. Like, I can't see the features menu, Marlene said, is hidden on the top of the screen of her iPad. And so it's a little tricky to have us troubleshoot those kinds of things. My number one advice, and I don't know if Brendan has different, I would go to Google and put in exactly what you wrote. Because someone else has had that same issue as you, and someone on the internet is going to hopefully show you via a YouTube video or just a website, like how it looks different, because Brendan and I are on Zoom on our like BSU issued laptops, so the interface is slightly different than if we were on an iPad. Brendan, do you have anything to mention on that?
Yes, I was going to say, I was going to try to pull it up, but Zoom also has been fielding this question for about 5 years, and they have a great help resource. I believe, I'm just going to double check it right now. I believe it's just zoom.us/help. No, it is not. It is Zoom. Again, you can Google Zoom help. Oh, it's support.zoom.com. That gets you basically here. I'll share my screen with you again. Give me 1 second. But as you can see here, this is a great resource. Support.zoom.com will get you there. This, you can just type in whatever you want. I want to change my background. How do I change my screen name? I need to update. And then you can also go into specific topics that you want to just have a more broad understanding of. But you can search literally anything here, and it would pop up. This is all specific to Zoom. If you said mobile screen, something's going to pop up, and it's just going to give you a bunch of different knowledge articles, sharing via mobile app, getting started, jumping into Zoom rooms from mobile app. It's a wealth beyond the amount of time I have to show you. But that is there. If I had any questions, that's the first place I go.
Excellent. Thanks, Brendan. Yes, of course, the Zoom. That should have been on the top of my mind as well. Someone said they were, one thing I just wanted to say real quick is that there is a feature where you can change how you view a meeting or a class. And so for me, it's the word view on the top right of my screen. And then there's like a series of 9 little squares. And so, because someone asked about not being able to see Brendan's presentation, so I think they probably had you maybe pinned as large, the speaker was large. I would encourage you to have the speaker, you can play around with view when you're in a meeting, maybe do it now while I'm talking. So look at that little view button, because it is a better experience if you look at the speaker big, like on your screen, rather as one tiny little box. You can really feel more connected to the speaker in that way. So I'll let you all play around with that, because someone had said that they were able to see you but not your shared screen. So that
Sure.
again, and use that Zoom help function with
On
that.
on that topic too, in the most updated version of Zoom, or a few updates ago, there's also, I don't have a picture of it, but they have enabled essentially tabs. Like if you had multiple tabs in your web browser, at the top of your screen, near where you would open or close the window, there you might see, if you're just seeing me, but it's known that I'm sharing my presentation, you might see a separate tab that says Brendan's Share, and you can click on that and bounce between the two. That requires you to not have the share full screened, but it sounded like you didn't. But that's, again, view is a great way to go. That tab might be there. It's kind of hard to have a precise solution without seeing the problem firsthand, but I hope that helps.
Yep. Someone asked in the chat about sharing documents, and this will really depend. So in the chat, there is a little feature where it looks like a little file where you can potentially share a document from your computer, but this is entirely controlled by whoever sets up the Zoom meeting. So it might not be enabled. And for security reasons, it might not be encouraged in the Zoom meeting that you're in or in a class. So that's maybe a little bit more of an advanced technique. I would say if you have a document and you're in a senior college class and you want to share it with the instructor, it might be easiest to say, hey, I'll email you this PDF article that I read. That might be the easiest, safest way to share actual documents. And then I'll start the questions in one moment, but Gregory, you did ask a question about something about presenting, and that's really, I think, a little bit beyond the purview of today's discussion. Today, we're really talking about people who are participating, not necessarily being presenters, because this is for senior college and our members are presenting. But Gregory, you had your hand up, and then we'll go to Carrie and Toby. Go ahead, Gregory, if you'd like to unmute now, you can.
Okay, I give PowerPoint presentations to various amateur astronomy clubs throughout the country, and I'm able to get the PowerPoint presentation up, but I want to see myself on the side as the speaker presenting. I can't seem to do that. I can only see the PowerPoint presentation because a few times I have a demonstration to show, so I can't see myself. So how can I do that simultaneously, see the PowerPoint and myself on the side?
So I also have that issue. I'm not necessarily trying to see myself that often, but the issue isn't necessarily in Zoom. It's actually an issue with PowerPoint. When you go into that presenter mode, PowerPoint has updated its software to know that it is being shared in a Zoom, and it kind of mimics that same presentation mode that it would, say, if you were at a conference and there was a secondary screen. It's just treating Zoom as that secondary screen. There's no real easy solution to this. Some not easy solutions that I personally have done in the past is, if you have your a mobile phone or a secondary device, you can log into the webinar as that and just kind of like have it muted and camera off in the corner, and make that so it sees you instead of the presentation. The other option, which I tend to do, is I will share my screen, get to a point, stop sharing screen, talk by a camera, and then go back to the share. It's a little clunky, but it's the best I
that's
can
what
find.
I've been doing, and I don't like that. I also tried read-only view on PowerPoint, and that doesn't do it either.
I just do want to be mindful, Brendan, just of our time, and
Sure.
That's an advanced presenter question, and Gregory, it's a very valid one, but most of the folks here are just hoping to refine their skills to be a participant in a Zoom class. So, but thank you. That's it's always tricky. Carrie Q. Leclerc, welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
So Brendan, my internet blinked out when you started talking about the background piece. If
Oh,
you
fun.
can just talk a little bit about that.
Sure. Let me, I'll go back to sharing because it's a little bit, and I can block this picture of me out too while we do it. There we go. So I'm going to jump back into my share. And you should be seeing, as we said, if you just click on the little caret next to your video, you'll see these options, quick blur, and then background effects. If you click on either of these, choose video filter or adjust background and effects, you'll be brought into this background and effects window within your Zoom settings. This is
If
where,
I could just ask you, where is
Sure.
that? Where is that? You said the caret, where is that?
oh, so next to your video icon, there's this little up arrow right built into it. So if you clicked on the video icon, it would turn your video off. But if you click on this little caret in that video icon, it would open this up. You can also access your settings through
I see.
the settings, but that's the fastest way to get there.
Okay.
And then you can get into, you can blur, they have some preset backgrounds you can add in, or you can use this little plus sign next to the virtual backgrounds to add your own images. There are some stipulations for size and resolution, but for the most part, most pictures will work. And then, if you grab it off the internet or if you have a picture you really like, if it came off your iPhone, it's probably going to work just because those are big pictures. And then video filters is near that. And that just is the more, I like to think of it as virtual backgrounds are obviously the things happening behind you. And then video filters are things you could put on the front. So you could give yourself cool little glasses or cover yourself in emoji smiles. Just for fun, not something you really want to use in a classroom setting, but it's there.
Thank you.
No problem.
I would strongly discourage people from playing around with the video filters too much with the
Friends and family.
Yeah, don't be like that lawyer that was a cat,
Yeah.
remember, during the pandemic, and he was
do
like, I'm not a
remember.
cat.
I swear I'm
And the
not a
judge
cat.
was like, you are so unprofessional. And he's like, I swear I'm not a cat. And he was like a little kitten. Okay, Toby, go ahead. You can unmute and ask your question.
Thank you. My question was, a number of these options that you were showing us sound wonderful, but there were many of them that just weren't, I wasn't seeing them. For example, I didn't have an option to, for a profile picture or an option to blur my camera. Is that more something with my computer, or have I done something wrong with Zoom?
No, so do you have the Zoom application downloaded or are you joining through a web browser?
I guess I need to determine what exactly I am doing.
Most likely you're joining through the web browser.
Okay.
My experience, I checked before we got together and it seemed like the web browser had really caught up on a lot of features, but some of those features being more advanced, they kind of go to the application first and then they kind of like reverse engineer it to work on a web browser version. This is another great reason to download the application if you have
Okay.
the option. Most
I guess what
likely,
I always do is I click on the link that Jen has provided, and then it will say launch meeting. I launch meeting, and that's how I do it. So I guess I'm not doing things.
No, the big thing, Toby, would be to go to zoom.com and register for an official Zoom account.
Okay.
And
Okay.
it's free. Don't pay for it. Don't give them your credit card. And then it will most likely walk you through the process to download the application on your whatever device you're working on.
A MacBook.
That
Okay.
will give you a more robust experience in Zoom in general. So
then when I click on a link, though, it then gives me an option of either launching or signing in. Should I then be signing in to Zoom?
yeah,
before
I mean,
launching the
your
meeting?
device will probably keep you signed in once you have an official Zoom account.
All right.
So, but you'll want to go to Zoom and like register, like click, like I
Sure, I
want
do.
to join Zoom, but just don't give a credit card because the free version is all that you'll need to be, set in senior college.
Okay. I
And
think I've just
Toby-
been doing it a little backwards. Thank you.
no worries. If you want, after questions are done and we kind of end, I'm happy to stick on with you and we can kind of maybe share your screen and we can walk through some of these things and try to sort out exactly what you're using and what the next steps would be. I'm happy to do that.
Thank you.
In the chat, I see someone, I don't know their name, just recently, Kate just posted that about the share function. So yes, so as Brendan presented, he shared his screen to show his PowerPoint. And in senior college classes, actually, everyone has the ability to share their screen. Some people do it accidentally. You've probably seen that happen in class. And so usually the host can make it stop just by sharing their own screen. But yes, you can do that. And if you're in a class and you're feeling confident and the instructor says, you know, if Ginny and Rick want to show a picture of their trip to Ireland and the instructor says, sure, go ahead and share your screen, you could potentially do that. I would say it's a little bit more of an advanced skill, but if you're feeling confident and the instructor is allowing it, that would be great. I wouldn't share my screen unless the host of the meeting was aware or the instructor was aware and encouraging you to do so. But yes, that is a good way to show an article or a document or something like that, or a photo. But again, remember, once you share your screen, you're opening up all the windows that are open on your computer. And if you click the wrong one and you show your bank statement, people are going to be like, ooh, how much do they have in their account? So you just have to be, you know, aware of all the things you have open on your personal computer could then be shared if you click on it to share it in this space. So use.
Hi, Jennifer.
Yes.
It's Louise. I just want about that point. Where we're being requested to share is in the memoir or writing classes, where they would like us to show them the class a specimen of our writing.
Yes.
So that's where it seems pertinent. And the instructor that I took the class from said either email her the document or share it here. She seemed to feel fine either way, but now you've been offered some cautions.
Yeah, that's great. That's a perfect use for it. What
Yep.
a great way. And if people have the skills to do it, that's great. And I think it's wonderful that the instructor also is willing to have you email it and she can share her screen too, you know, for those who maybe feel comfortable doing it that way. I love that. See, it's such a great tool. Okay, it's 10:58. Wow, or 11:58. Wow, that went quick. I hope it was useful to all of you. I know it was to me. I always learn something new when I'm with Brendan, and appreciate his calm, approachable manner to technology and him being so engaged with senior college. He's been doing this kind of thing with us over the years, and we appreciate your expertise. So round of applause for Brendan. Oh, good.
Hey, we
I'm
see the
seeing people
dot.
using the reactions.
They're learning. It's great.
Yes. So Brendan said he'd stay on for a couple of minutes. I can do so as well, but we'll stop the recording and thank you all for coming, and we'll see you this fall in your senior college class. Thanks.
Thanks so
Karen.
much,
Thanks,
everybody.
Brendan.
Thank you.